Brooklyn to Berlin. The plan was simple. 7 friends from Williamsburg Town FC would swap the familiar streets of New York City for the iconic stadiums of Germany for Euro 2024. Over the course of 10 days, we'd navigate 5 cities: Frankfurt, Cologne, Dusseldorf, Gelsenkirchen and Dortmund, catching the group stages and round of 16. We'd then nip back to compete in the Icarus Cup, a grassroots tournament in Philadelphia. With a little luck, we'd even make it back to Germany for the final. The journey was just beginning. We watched the early Euro games around Brooklyn. For England's opener, we chose Bury Park in Williamsburg, where the buzz in the air was far greater than what we saw on the pitch.
Look, they're not doing great. They've sort of sat back. I think they think they've got it in the bag. But those serves, well, they can give it to you. Honestly, pretty dismal, but you know.
Luckily, midday games often aligned with impromptu street parties, keeping the summer energy alive, even when the matches fell short. But that was just the start. Get ready for a hilarious, heartfelt journey from Brooklyn to Berlin, a true Bratwurst summer, where the final may be the goal, but the memories made along the way are what truly matter.
Bring on Friday, off we go to Frankfurt.
We touched down early in Frankfurt, bleary-eyed but buzzing with excitement. Suitcases in tow, we rolled through the quiet cobbled streets. With an early check-in secured, we headed straight for the fan park, only to find it closed until the afternoon match. After trying to entertain ourselves, we wandered to the main square, where steins, pork knuckle and a Frankfurter platter satisfied the ever-hungry Alex Bradbury. What have you gone for, Bradders?
Yeah, just a medley of sausages. You know.
Wait, that wasn't me banging. This one.
Which one? This one. These two, I mean, they all look a bit anemic.
Ah, mate, trust me, they're going to be good. Don't much, come on.
Back at the fan park, we faced UEFA's unbeatable robo-keeper. Go on, Bradders.
I gave him the eye.
Go, Bobby. Oh!
Yes, that's me trying to outsmart a robot. Later, inspired by Georgia's penalty against the Czechs, Josh finally scored, redeeming Williamsburg Town.
How was it? You scored a goal at the end of the match. How was it?
As the rain began to fall, we found ourselves cheering with Turkish fans for their game against Portugal.
Cheering on Turkey. Turkey, turned up in force. Thousands of them.
But soon enough, jet lag came knocking. The morning debrief from the night before. No names, but someone came home barefoot. I just got a text from Bradders. It says, "Do you know where my shoes are?" Thankfully, a pair of flip-flops was sourced just in time, though our flip-flop stroll led us straight into Frankfurt's red light district. Pictured the roughest parts of Amsterdam, minus the charm. Greenberg Park came to our rescue, where we settled in with local beers and ciders, planning for tonight's Germany vs Switzerland match. What's the score? Predictions today, McNally?
3-0. Swiss.
The lads ended up watching with some Albanian friends that we made the night before, while I was lucky enough to secure a ticket and headed towards Stadion, a stunning venue nestled in a forest on the city's outskirts. Okay, just a quick one. Look at these cups, man. The cups have all the different stadiums on. But yeah, this is Germany, Switzerland. And as you can see, great old crowd back there. And even more so, what's beautiful about this stadium is you've just got the whole city skyline. You can't actually see it, can you? No, neither can I. That's okay. Yeah, fucking beautiful stadium. Love it. I'm so glad I came here. All the rest of the lads are in town, dancing with the Albanians. Anyways, we should get back in. The second half has just kicked off. Germany's last-minute equaliser sealed a thrilling 1-1 draw, and I even convinced a fan to snag around 16 tickets for him and his son. Back in town, the lads managed to level up, befriending the head of the German supporters club.
This is the community where we are connected.
Ah, brilliant.
Where we travel all the way there.
We may never know what Brad has said to our new friend, but judging by his reaction, I'd say we made a very lasting impression.
Yeah. So, have a beer. Great lad.
The next morning, we were up early for the train to Cologne, and the sound of clattering suitcases once again filled the air. Breakfast? Well, kebabs and train beers, naturally.
Yeah. Train beers.
Couldn't like breathe at one point. I was like, my chest was like, fuck.
We're in Cologne. It's fucking hot. I'm ready for action.
Josh, our resident expert who had studied in Germany, volunteered as group translator. Josh, if I was to say meine Lieblingsfaktor is Erdkunde, what would that translate as?
Your favourite subject is geography.
Perfect. Yeah. Though he quickly regretted that when he realised the nonsense he'd have to translate from us. My German teacher would be heartbroken if I said that.
There's one situation on this trip where you actually need to use that. Einen Spritzenspritzen. Translate, please.
With only GCSE German at our disposal, we took the scenic route into Old Town. Here we see a beautiful, royal, high celestial structure, and next to Jambo, I might have been there from the Jambo era.
12-15 this was built.
Yeah?
No, mate, it's
I've said it before, but religion has architecture, atheists have comedy, we just have jokes about Quasimodo ringing the bells. We dropped our bags at the hotel and hit the streets in our Williamsburg Town FC shirts. McNally ended up trading his prize shirt with some Slovenians, only to get an unimpressive Uniqlo vest in return. Still, it was a great moment of Anglo-Slovenian unity that we won't forget. Day 4, England vs Slovenia. We kicked things off at Cologne's fan park for the Poland-France game, where Jambo quickly learned that sitting down for 2 minutes meant getting your face painted.
How about the glasses have come off?
Soon, it was time to head to the stadium, home of FC Cologne.
On the way into the stadium here, Bobby's done us well. Sorted to start a couple of good tickets. And we're going to have a friendly game with the old Slovenian crew.
Oi, ready for Cologne. Ready for England to get a miserable 1-1 draw.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be 1-1.
Yeah.
100% it's going to be 1-1. I mean, dreadful game. But we top the group to go again. Can't ask more than that. Come on, England.
After the match, we celebrated at Werner Caverna, the unofficial Free Lions after-party spot, conveniently located between our hotel and a rather unsettling local mascot, one of Cologne's many food-themed characters.
My body's not going to know what's going on when I eat something green.
Jet lag, age, and a diet of indulgence were starting to take their toll. Sesh fatigue had clearly set in. We collectively decided to take it easy that night, wrapping up the night after a chilled dinner and a quiet game of cards. Watching Turkey vs Czech from the hotel room, with the distant sounds of the fan park drifting in through the window, turned out to be a surprisingly perfect moment to savour.
Where are we going, lads, after this?
Dusseldorf. Dusseldorf.
Day 6, we arrived in Dusseldorf, our base for the rest of the trip. Spain vs Albania at the futuristic Merkurspiel Arena was next on the agenda. In solidarity with our new Albanian friends, we cheered for Albania, even sporting their traditional headwear.
a couple of Albanians around.
Go in. Got your man Elton John, number 10 here. Get that in. Elton. Fella, what are we saying? Albania or Spain, lad? Who do you want to win the match?
I think Spain.
We've got to do things. Well, hopefully Albania. But
Hopefully Albania, yeah.
thank you.
Being a neutral supporter has its perks. You get to enjoy new national anthems, and, best of all, you can slip out early to dodge the post-match crowds.
Scotland get battered everywhere they go. Everywhere they go.
With the group stages behind us, 2 football-free days in Dusseldorf were a blessing. It was time to explore Old Town, check out some museums, unwind in the parks, take aimless strolls to the outskirts for a bit of urban exploring. We even squeezed in a lake swim, some much needed laundry, a bit of continental flair, food markets, and discovered a rare find: vegetables. Dusseldorf was a city we needed, not the city we deserved. After 2 days of rest, we were recharged and ready for the round of 16. Fans trickled in, first in their tens, then hundreds, and soon by the thousands. The arrival of fresh troops was a welcome sight. But our own group was starting to thin. What began as 7 had dwindled to just 3. Sammy had gone back to Brooklyn, Alex was off to Amsterdam, McNally to Berlin. A stark reminder that the sun was beginning to set on our journey. No time to get sentimental. 2 cities remained. First stop, Dortmund for Germany vs Denmark. The Football Museum wowed with treasures from Italia 90, Euro 96 and 2014 World Cup. Their 1966 World Cup section even presented the final as a crime scene over England's controversial ghost goal. Next, it was off to Borussia Dortmund's legendary stadium to experience the Yellow Wall firsthand. Despite a near cancellation due to storms, I enjoyed the match with local Dortmund fans who shared some insider tips on secret stadium tunnels, ensuring a swift exit and allowed me to catch the first train back. Just in time to find brothers wandering the streets of Dusseldorf. England vs Slovakia in Gelsenkirchen. As expected, the train chaos was legendary, but the official England supporters club kept everyone in the loop. Scousefield's music quiz. 10 questions. What do you reckon the answer to all of the questions will be, Jambo?
It's going to be the Beatles, isn't it? It's going to be the Beatles or Best of the Beatles. Famously, your man who got kicked out of the Beatles. That's going to be the answer to every question on that thing.
Question number 1 is, which city was Pete Best from? We finally made it to Gelsenkirchen, determined to make the most of our last city on this leg of the tour. The game itself, as you might recall, was crap. I'll admit that when Kane was substituted for Tony with minutes to go, ducking out early to beat the crowds to the train station seemed very tempting. But as Jambo wisely said, it's never over until it's over. Bellingham's dramatic 95th minute overhead kick spared us from near elimination.
For me, we've learned nothing. Southgate needs to have a word with himself, and he needs to sit down and have a good long look at himself and think, what can I do better?
Yeah.
And so do the players.
So, more importantly,
To lift Jambo's spirits, we ended the night with a feast at Thomas Podolski's kebab shop.
was it any good?
Oh, it's fantastic to be fair. I'd highly recommend the Podolski.
We landed back in New York to find ourselves on the front page of the Daily Mail website. The article kindly shaved a year off my age, even if the trip had added a decade to how I felt. Elated, yet exhausted, I was thrilled to be home, until the thought of a possible return to Berlin for the final began to set in.
Ricardo Rodriguez deflects behind and, well, nearly grabbed it for Switzerland.
The 2 weeks back in Brooklyn were just as intense. Watching the Swiss game was agonising, especially without the buzz of stadium beers, but the lads came through. In the midst of all this, I was also trying to navigate the process of closing on a new house in the Catskill Mountains, a story for another time. The lunchtime semi-final win against Holland was watched from a midtown pub across from my office, which could only mean one thing. I was flying back to Berlin for the final. That Wednesday, right after the semi, I rushed to book flights, hotels and snag a reseller ticket for Sunday's showpiece. Before I could get excited about the final, I had to head to Philadelphia that Friday for the Icarus Cup opening ceremony, where I had the honour of captaining Williamsburg Town FC. We stumbled through the group stage, but mounted an incredible comeback from 5-0 down in a knockout game to force a penalty shootout. Unlike in Frankfurt, Josh, Bradders and McNally overcame their penalty demons, slotting home with ease.
Yes!
Nice, Brad. I told you!
I even fulfilled a boyhood dream by saving 2 penalties in the shootout. Our heroics were captured by legendary tournament chronicler Andrew Baggerly.
Get it!
A guy turned down an invitation from Southgate just to win this PK shootout. And this guy, here we go.
We were inevitably knocked out in the playoff final, but with no time to dwell on what could have been, it was time to drive back to New York and on to Berlin.
What scores are we predicting for the final tomorrow?
Oh, do we want to say? Reflecting on the last Euro final, where I ended up walking home in the rain under Wembley's Italian-lit arch, followed by a whiskey-fueled debrief, I hoped this experience would be different. This time, I flew out solo, but I managed to convince my brother Joe to join me in Berlin.
Here he is. Yes, brother.
Having been to Berlin many times, I wasn't fazed by this 26-hour pit stop, and after a much-needed freshen up at the hotel, I met up with Joe. And Mr. Chairman, who you might remember from my Prague documentary, was also at the hotel. And he also brought John Stones along with him.
We're fucking amazing. Love you all. Come on, England. 3 Lions.
We headed to the stadium, but not before a quick detour to the fan park to catch up with Wedsey, a good friend and former Williamsburg Town FC alumni.
Where are we? Mate, we're in Berlin right now, actually, mate. Are we? Are we? I think we are. Yeah. Olympic Stadium. March on. Come on!
Walking into a stadium with the 3 Lions playing was an incredible moment. As for the game, well, I was a bundle of nerves, running on fumes. Being a neutral must be a lot easier, eh? Where your biggest worry is who can make the best paper aeroplane. We all know how the game ended, so I'll spare the details of the heartache and emptiness that followed. I somehow found myself alone at some official after-party. It was like an alternative reality, where it could have been all songs in the street. It was nearly complete. I eventually found Joe, and we said our goodbyes. I headed back to the hotel, where match highlights played on repeat in the empty bar. I couldn't bring myself to watch them, vowing never to revisit the game, before trudging upstairs to get into bed at 2 a.m. I woke up 12 hours later, finally catching up on sleep after weeks of exhaustion. Every cloud has a silver lining, I suppose. I had just enough time for a final walk along the Berlin Wall and lunch with the chairman.
Ah, morning. One final beer. What a beautiful trip. Not with the ending we all wanted, but it's not about the ending, it's always about the story.
He was right. It's all about the story. And I hope you enjoyed this one. I'll see you all in 2026 for the North America tour.